Hey guys, and happy Tuesday! And it's not just any Tuesday here on Rod Talks Games. It is Top 10 Tuesday. So last time on Top 10 Tuesdays, I brought to you my top 10 favorite NES games. This time we're doing something a little different, as I should, because every Top 10 Tuesday should be, should cover a different topic. And on this Top 10 Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 most valuable games in my collection. I am going in order from the 10th most valuable to the number 1 most valuable. I am not a smart man. I use price charting, and I have my price charting on my phone, which I'm currently using to record this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit in the price down here at the bottom of the screen for each game, so you'll see like a little blurb here, or maybe like up here, or over here, that will tell you how much this particular game is worth. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'll also talk a little bit about my experiences with each of these games, or at least to the best of my abilities. So let's go ahead and jump in with number 10. And at number 10, the 10th most valuable game in my collection, we have Tales of Destiny 2 on the PlayStation 1. You all saw this. This was a fairly recent pickup of mine that I got. I believe I bought this in December, I want to say. So just full disclosure, I have barely played Tales of Destiny 2 in my lifetime. I've hardly played it at all, actually. I also have the PSP version, Tales of Eternia, which I've been debating, because I'm actually going to play this really soon. Right now, I'm currently playing 2 other RPGs. I'm playing Xenogears and Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. And I've already decided that, my next RPG I'm going to play after I finish one of those is going to be Tales of Destiny 2. And I've been thinking, do I want to play this PlayStation 1 version or do I want to play the PSP version? Turns out the PSP version, apparently, if it's a first print copy of the game, has a game-breaking bug, which will prevent you from beating the game after a certain point. I don't know if my copy's first print, and I don't intend on finding out by playing and encountering the bug. So I'm going to play this version, and I'm going to play this version within the next couple of months. And I'm sure we'll talk about this more when I do finally play it, but I am looking forward to trying it. Next game here, this is the other game that is on this top 10 that I really don't have much experience with, and that is Wild Arms 5. You see, I've got this the special edition, which this was the only edition that was released on the PlayStation 2. They did like this special edition for Wild Arms Anniversary. It was the series' 10th anniversary, which, sad thing is, this is the last game in the series, although the PSP version might have come out. Those PSP games that I don't have, it's the only one I don't have, that might have come out after this. And this did include this really cool Art of Wild Arms book, which has got some really cool artwork. Of course, the series is like Wild West based, so we're just going to flip through a few of these pages here. Again, I don't have much experience playing this, but I'm gonna at some point. I've always said I really wanted to play Wild Arms 5. What I did play, but I really liked. I've only ever beat the first Wild Arms, honestly, so... and unfortunately, however, my copy itself of Wild Arms, this is actually sealed, the game itself. And actually, I still got the GameStop news sticker there on the corner. And, it's kind of a loose seal. I could open this and play it if I wanted, but I don't want to. I think Justin actually might have a copy that isn't sealed, so maybe I'll borrow his. Justin, shout out in the comments if you have an open copy of this, so maybe I can play it someday when I decide to. I don't think this is one of the more popular games, and I remember liking this more than Wild Arms 4. But, we'll see. All right, number 8 most valuable game in my collection. And just kind of full disclosure here, this is not obviously the original case. We have Pokemon Emerald. This is a reproduction Nintendo DS style case. This is Game Boy Advance. You know what? We can talk about this one. I just beat this game about 3 or 4 weeks ago. This so far is my favorite Pokemon game that I've beat. I've beat in my time. I beat Brilliant Diamond. I've beat Pokemon Y. I've beat Pokemon Fire Red, and now I've beat this one. And yes, I did use Rayquaza. I picked up Rayquaza before I went and fought the Elite Four. I steamrolled. It was great. Mudkip was an awesome starter. I love my water starters. Y'all know that. This is such a fun Pokemon game. If you've never played Gen 3, which is Ruby, Sapphire, and then, of course, Emerald, the definitive of the 3, I highly recommend this. There are also remakes of this that you can play on the 3DS, which would be Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. I do have Alpha Sapphire. I've not played it. I don't want to jump into it right now because I just beat Emerald, and I actually, we'll talk about another game here in a second. I'm currently playing. This is great. Obviously, it's pricey because this is like, I say this, it's kind of funny because this is the only game in my top 10 of the most valuable games that technically I own loose. So that shows you how expensive this game can be because the loose version of the game is still my top 10 most valuable. All right. At number 7, hey guys, Future Roger here. So when I recorded this, I realized as I was editing that I accidentally flipped my number 8 and number 7 games in terms of value. So in your minds, just go ahead and flip those. Sorry for being a dumbass. Currently playing this game right now. There was a really weird noise in this room just now. I don't know what that was, but that is weird. Maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe you'll never know about that noise. Or maybe now you're wondering, Roger, what was the noise? I don't know. Pokemon Heart Gold. This particular version, this is actually the not for resale. Sorry, I'm not flipping you off, I promise. This is the not for resale version, so it actually carries a little more value than the standard copy. I'm currently playing this. I went to Disney for the weekend with my wife last weekend. That's why there was a video last week. I didn't want to carry my Switch 2 because y'all know the saga. If you go back in my videos, y'all know the Switch 2 saga of losing my Switch 2 at the airport because TSA didn't put it back in my bag. So it's like, we were like, you know what, let's leave the Switch 2 at home. Let's carry something else. So I carried my Analog Pocket and I carried my 3DS. And actually I played this a good bit during downtime when we were taking breaks in the park. You know, we sat down for, 20, 30 minutes, or like one of us was going to go get food while the other one was hanging out holding a table. You know, I'd whip this bad boy out, play a little bit. I've got 6 badges so far. I will probably finish this within the coming weeks. As far as what Pokemon game I'm going to play next, this is actually taking me a lot longer to play through this game than it has Emerald in particular, which I really just kind of ripped through, and Fire Red. I don't know if I'm going to take a break from Pokemon to this. I might go back and beat Legends ZA, or I might jump into Pokemon White. I haven't decided yet. Which is that would be Gen 4, which I would be on Gen 4 at that point. So, actually, that'd be Gen 5. So I'd be on Gen 5 at that point, so I'm going to beat after I beat this, I'll have beat Generations 1 through 4. What starter did I choose? And of course, y'all know me, I chose the water starter, Totodile. Alright. Number 6. Let's just say near and dear. And I could literally talk about this game for multiple videos on end, and I could go on and on and on. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I'm not going to say much about this because I'm going to do a dedicated video for this game someday, and I'm going to gush and gush over it. This is my favorite game of all time. Man, I played this so much as a kid, over and over again. I played through this game when I was growing up. And of course, back then, when I was a kid, typically we'd get new games for Christmas. We'd get a new game, maybe on my birthday or a special occasion, tax season, I'd get a new game. But this is the one game that I always came back to over and over again and would just play over and over and over again. And I've beat this game countless times. I used to do a yearly playthrough of Link to the Past. I actually have not done a yearly playthrough since 2023, I believe, was my last playthrough of Link to the Past. So I'm due one. Maybe we'll stream a Link to the Past playthrough. Would you guys be interested in watching that? Leave a comment below if you want to see me do a Link to the Past stream through the whole game. We do it over multiple weeks. But anyways. All right. This is the biggest game, the next one, on my top 10 most valuable games. And this is at number 5. We have the Castlevania Requiem Limited Edition from Limited Run Games. Y'all have no idea how badly I want to open this and look at everything inside. This is for the PlayStation 4, by the way. But it's still sealed. I will say there's either a Cappy or Turbo scratch in the shrink wrap. So technically, I guess you could say it's open. Darn cats. But I'm still not going to open this. I want to give a shout out to one of my best friends, Michael, for selling me this at an amazing price. He definitely gave this to me for well under value. and he really hooked me up with the pro price on that. This is special to me because, again, Castlevania Symphony of the Night is one of my favorite games of all time. It is actually number 3. What's number 2? Well, you'll have to wait until later in the video to find out. You know, it's kind of funny. I never thought I was going to review my top 3 games of all time in a top 10 video, which was not my top 10 favorite games of all time. But here we are, I guess. You know, 3 of my most favorite games are in this video on this list. So, and actually another one of my top 10 of all time is also on the list, but I won't reveal what that is. We'll save that for later. This is my favorite Castlevania game. It is my favorite Metroidvania. One of my favorite games of all time, period. If you've never played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and you should have by now, unfortunately, it's not on a Switch system. It was on Xbox Live Arcade. You can also get it on PlayStation 4. Or you can get the original PlayStation 1 version. I've got my PlayStation 1 disc. It's actually my original copy over there on the shelf. I'm pretty sure it like just missed. It's like my 12th or 13th most expensive game. So it like just missed being in this video, along with a couple other games. In fact, I can say, like, when I've looked at my values earlier, I have 11 games that are worth $200 or more. 10 of those 11 obviously are in this video. The 11th was the honorable mention of the video, which I'll go ahead and throw it out there, was another Castlevania game, Super Castlevania 4, which, you know, I have completed the box. So, at number 4, and I will say, out of all the Trails games I've beat, this is my favorite. And we have, boom, Trails to Azure. Legend of Heroes, Trails to Azure. This has the best party of any RPG ever. The 6 members of your party here. You get your 4 party members from Trails to Zero. Do not start with this game. If you're going to play a Trails game, do not start with this. This is literally a direct sequel to Trails from Zero. And I have the PlayStation 4 version of these, which are actually the inferior versions. The Switch version is actually better because the PlayStation 4 version is actually based on an older port from the PSP, whereas the Switch and PC versions are like a full remaster. So these actually aren't as good, but I don't care. I have the entire Trails Up series limited editions on the PlayStation 4 and 5. So that's what I wanted to stick with. I didn't want to get it for Switch because I already had the others on that line of systems. I don't want to spoil anything of this, and like I said, it's a direct sequel to Trails from Zero. So, it even really, like, a lot of people will tell you, like, let's just talk about Trails for a minute. A lot of people will tell you, like, you have to start with Trails in the Sky, and then you have to play Trails in the Sky 1, 2, and 3. And then you play Zero, and then you play Azure, and then you play the Trails of Cold Steel games. Like, you have to play in that order. I don't necessarily believe that. I think there are 4 jumping in points of the series. You can jump in my opinion, at either Trails in the Sky, Trails from Zero, Trails of Cold Steel, or the newer series, Trails through Daybreak. You can jump in at the first one of those. Now, are Cold Steel, Zero, and Daybreak, are they the best jumping in points? Not necessarily, because there are characters in Zero from Sky 1, 2, and 3, which I guess can be a bit of a spoiler if you've not finished those games. And then lots of characters from the Zero duology and from the Sky trilogy show up in the Cold Steel games also. So it's all one big interconnecting story of like 13 games at this point. Anyways, this is not a Trails Up video. I don't want to spend this entire video talking about the series. We'll do a video on Trails sometime. All right. My top 3 most expensive games in my collection. We are here. We have arrived. Number 3 is an indie game. We have the Special Reserve Edition of The Messenger. This is my favorite indie game. I know I've talked about this in previous videos. This starts off like kind of a Ninja Gaiden-like game. Later on, it opens up into a Metroidvania where you switch between 8-bit and 16-bit. Of course, there's no sticker on the outer box. However, I will point out, and I'm going to be very careful here, the game itself that is inside the case, this has been removed like one time. Like, I'm being very, very careful with this here. It doesn't really want to come out. We have the Special Reserve Messenger instruction booklet, which is awesome. I've only opened this one time, but it's like a hardcover instruction booklet. It's so cool. The game itself doesn't want to come out of the box, and I'm not going to force it out. Oh, wait, there it goes. This is sealed. Shout out to Carrie from Warp Zone up in Greensburg, PA. He actually sold me this. He put it in the store He gave me a pretty good deal on it. It actually came out of his personal collection. He restocked the store out of his personal collection a couple summers ago, and I was lucky enough. This sat on the shelf for a few weeks, and then I was in there one day with my wife, and I'm like, you know what? I've come in here, I've seen this a couple times. I've been wanting a physical version of this for as long as I could remember. I know it's expensive, but I'm buying it, and I did, and I don't regret it. Except for the fact that, a few months later, they announced a new reprint of the physical version. But it's not the special reserve version. This is still not a lot of these. And I believe this is numbered. I've got a couple of numbered games. Maybe this is not numbered. I thought the special reserve messenger was numbered. But, anyways, I don't see the number on it. So we're not going to worry about it, but lovely. At number 2. We have Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo. I've got this nice heavy-duty box. Nice heavy-duty hard plastic case. I don't know why I don't have my most valuable game in this hard plastic shell, because this is like super heavy-duty. This is my favorite Final Fantasy game, ladies and gentlemen. Some people like 7. Some people like 9. I like Final Fantasy 6, which is numbered as 3 in America because, well, they didn't exactly release these in order in the United States. This was actually the 3rd game, actually the 4th game if you count Mystic Quest. So they released this as Final Fantasy 3, but we all know it as Final Fantasy 6 today. What can I say? Great game. Okay, so my number 1 most valuable game in my collection, which is also my number 2 favorite game of all time. I'm probably confusing the numbers at this point. 3 is 6, and number 1 is my number 2 game, and this and this. This is actually more than double the value of my number 2. In fact, this is, if you can combine any like 3 or 4 of my games in this top 10, and this is worth more than any 4 combined, including my number 2. This is my crown jewel of my collection. I've not shown this on a video before. This is my complete unboxed Chrono Trigger. And I have a fun story with this one. So this sat in Warp Zone. Again, we're back to Warp Zone. This sat in Warp Zone for a good while. It was there for like 5-6 weeks. This is a story, it's been about a year ago, actually, since I picked this up. And so Justin and I went to Warp Zone. We were going to do an Amish weekend, but we decided instead to go game hunting because, why not? So we go into Warp Zone. He has some trades, and he basically has I would say he probably had about $400 worth of trades, but they like hooked him up big time. And they had this marked for $600 because there is a little bit of box damage. I don't know if you can see. I think you can see that box damage there, right there on the UPC. But, it's probably not that big a deal to me. But they kind of bumped up his trade. They did a straight trade with him. They traded him this for his trades, which came up to about $400. So he got the game for a really good deal. And I tell you what, I was jealous. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like, I couldn't afford it. There was no way I was affording that. I didn't have $600 spent on Chrono Trigger, and I didn't have a whole lot of trades to go with. So we go up the road. From there, we go to Butler. We go see Evan. It was our first visit to main level games. And Justin found some games that he's been looking for in main level. And they're a little pricey. And I had trades. And I had trades worth about $200 in trades to Evan. And Justin's like, okay, let's go talk. Because I wasn't really seeing a whole lot in the store that I really had to have. And he's like, okay, let's work a deal. There's stuff here I want. You have trades. So how about I take your trades and you pay me $200 or $250, something like that. And I'll get what I want to hear and you keep the Chrono Trigger. This is why we're best friends. This is like, I had never been happier or like more satisfied by a pickup than this. So anyways, guys, those are my top 10 most valuable games in my collection. Hey guys, Future Roger again. So I just wanted to take this time to say this video is not over because I want to say some things. I want to give a shout out to a couple of channels that I consider friends here on YouTube, and you're going to find the description, or rather a link to these 3 channels in the description below. Shout out to my boy Bait and Switch.
You'll check out his channel below. You will also find in the description a link to Switch Addiction Mike. He's an awesome Switch collector. Check out his content. And then, of course, we have one of my inspirations, one of the people who's helped me out a lot here, Monado Max. You'll find all three of those friends of the channel. You'll find links to their channels in the description below. Be sure to check them out.
And this was another edition of Top 10 Tuesdays. I hope you're enjoying these. I haven't decided what next month's Top 10 is going to look like just yet, but, I mean, obviously, we'll see. What are some of the valuable games that you have in your collection? Drop that down in the comments. And, of course, I had mentioned before, we are on the road to 500 subscribers. We want to get there by my birthday on May 28th. Today, as of release this video, it is February 17th. So we still got a good ways to go to get there. We need about 350 more subscribers, and we've got plenty of time. And I have cats. If you don't like cats, well, sorry. If you do like cats and you subscribe, you'll see more of him because he pops up, and so does Turbo, who's not been in this video. Anyways, so go ahead. If you've not already done so, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below. And also, you'll find the link to our Discord in the description. You'll find some links here. You can go watch another one of my videos, or there's a subscribe button here too. Hey, look at that. So check those out, guys. And until next time, we'll see ya.